touching us closer than you know. Love each other so. I'm drunk.
Hey there, everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave, the host of the Dark Stuff channel here on YouTube. Thank you so much for checking out my latest video. As always, it is much appreciated. Folks, in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the brand new box set from the Replacements. It is the Let It Be Deluxe Edition. Just came out with Rhino Records. I'm going to talk about the music on the box set. I'm going to talk about the box set itself, the packaging. We're going to talk about the bonus materials. I also want to talk briefly about Rhino Records and why a company that's so great at making packages like this cannot handle mail order. I'd like to start a little bit with a little bit of the background on the album. Now, pretty much anybody that has tuned into this video probably knows the background of Let It Be, the Replacements' fourth release, their third full-length album, although some people consider Stink an album and not an EP, and so they would call Let It Be their fourth album. I don't really care which way you go on that. I mean, I Stink is an album as far as I'm concerned, so it is their fourth record. Came out in 1984 and is the album that got them a national reputation. They started getting in all the critics' best of lists, and they were a buzz band in 1984, so much so that when they went to play in New York, I mean, like Gene Simmons showed up and all these like rock star people were sort of popped by the show because they were the new buzz band of the moment. I wouldn't say there's consensus among Replacements fans that Let It Be is the best album of their career. I think it's considered almost unanimously among their best, but I mean, some people, they go back and forth with Tim and Pleased to Meet Me and decide, that those are usually the typical favorites, and that's what I rotate with those three, with Tim, Pleased to Meet Me, and Let It Be as being my quote-unquote favorite. But I also like all of the catalog. I made a video in 2024 talking about the 40th anniversary of the Let It Be album, and I wondered aloud, why is Rhino Records, don't they have a box set already for this particular album? Why is there a delay? This is the 40th anniversary, prime opportunity. And it was never answered, and so we just kind of moved on from it. When it was first announced, they started taking pre-orders at Rhino Records. Now, Rhino does mail order, and they also send to retail. But the reason why they hook you on going with them is because they always add in little goodies that are not available at retail. Now, retail has their own little goodies that aren't available to people who do advance orders. That's fucked, because you should get, if you advance order stuff, you should get everything, but it's okay, we're moving on. So there were various bundles or things you could do to pre-order the album. Okay, I went for the Let It Be Deluxe Edition 4LP 10-inch t-shirt bundle, $150, and I ordered it the day that it was announced, and was, anticipating it ever since then. I did a little video about it. It was supposed to be released on October 24th, 2025, and yet it came out November 21st, 2025, and I know that I at least was not notified by Rhino, hey, your album is delayed a month, it's going to be coming out at a different day. There were social media posts, and I'm part of a Replacements and Paul Westerberg group on Facebook, and they were talking about it. Now, the t-shirt that I'm wearing is not the t-shirt that came with the bundle. Okay, this is directly from the Replacements merch store. They had a couple of new variations of Let It Be, and they were all really cool. This is the shirt that comes with it. Okay, the one more chance to get it all wrong line from there. It's a cool t-shirt. I love it. Not complaining again. And then there is the 10-inch, which is an extra live EP that in addition to what's in the box set. We'll address that shortly. In the initial marketing, they said, the landmark 1984 album remastered and expanded on 4 LP and 3 CD and a Rhino.com exclusive bonus 10-inch. Okay, so it was supposed to be coming out on November 21st, and that's when it came out. But like a lot of people who advance ordered it, mail order was a pinch slow. In previous videos on these Replacements box sets, I've said I'll never order directly from Rhino again because of the delay. And this time I did order from Rhino again, and I knew I was going to because I wanted the t-shirt and I wanted that 10-inch, which they said was exclusive to ordering at Rhino.com. What all is included in the box set then, right? I mean, it's this big package. It is the album Let It Be, remastered for 2025. I'm not going to comment too much on the album itself because I assume if you're watching this video that you've heard the album a million times and you love the record. Does it sound good? Yes. Is it the best it's ever sounded? I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's hard to say. I still like my OG that I have back over here. I still prefer my OG when I play it. Although I will play the CD, I'll stream it, I'll whatever. I mean, it doesn't really make much difference. I think they all sound comparable. It does sound good, though. I'm not going to say that it's like a bad remaster. It's a great remaster. It sounds excellent. Okay, so the Let It Be album is the first record. Okay, so the second record is the B-sides and outtakes, and it is called Kiss My Grassroots, Rarities and B-sides, and there are, 8 and 6, 14 bonus tracks. Now that seems pretty good, right? Except for the fact that just a few years ago, they put out this replacements Let It Be expanded edition with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bonus tracks, 6 of the ones on here. And there are a lot of repeats. So this one had 20th Century Boy, got it. Perfectly Lethal, another bonus track, got it on the original CD, so that's not new. Temptation Eyes, great cover, also not on there. And then this is the thing where it says Answering Machine home demo. The box set has 2 different versions, 2 home demos on that. So that's different. That's something that wasn't on there before. Heartbeat, It's a Love Beat, and then the 16 Blue alternate version. So what you get that you've never heard before is this Gary's Got a Boner alternate version, Favorite Thing alternate version, Who's Gonna Take Us Alive studio version. One of the Answering Machines is on there. Okay, Street Girl that's already been out before. Oh, Street Girl I have heard. Maybe that was just on a bootleg, but that's new to this. It wasn't on this. Okay, Androgynous alternate version. Or actually, I'm sorry, Unsatisfied alternate mix. It's a full-length version. It sounds really cool. Barely distinguishable from the difference. And then Androgynous, the alternate version, which I think is the best thing on this. Okay, on that particular album. So I think if I understand it correctly, it was pieced together from 2 different recordings and made into one, and it's Paul doing Androgynous. It's mostly the same. Paul's vocal I think is a little bit better on this new version. I mean, the words are slightly different, not to change the meaning, but just maybe he phrased things differently one time and then he does it a little bit differently the next time. But I like this new version. I think it's maybe a little bit better than the original. 20th Century Boy, like I said, has been there, and Hey Good Looking Live has also been out before. It's on the I Will Dare 12-inch, and so this puts all of these in one spot. Okay, so for that, it's an advantage. Plus, it's on vinyl, and if you're a stickler for the vinyl, and you have to have it that way, those bonus tracks I don't believe were ever on vinyl before. So this is a first. Okay, so records 3 and 4 is the live album from this particular venture. All of the various replacements box sets always have a live component, or mostly have had, and they have been either 24-track live recordings, full studio, or not studio, but I mean a 24-track multi-track recording, almost like a mobile studio. Okay, there have been others that have been soundboard. The one in Sorry Ma, I believe, is from a radio broadcast. And if they ever do an All Shook Down, they have the live show. The last replacement show, July 4th, 91, was broadcast on the radio, so they already have one for that. I could go through each one. Don't Tell a Soul has a really nice professional one, or the box set that came with Don't Tell a Soul, Dead Man's Pop. This particular one, for Goodnight Go Home, was recorded at the Cubby Bear in Chicago, August 17th, 1984. It's a double album, and it is an audience recording. My comments on it are that I think the performance is amazing. Okay, there's a lot of drama about the replacements in 1984 giving off drunken performances, and if you listen to the Shit Hits the Fans, they were drunk the entire time. They barely played any of their own songs, and that was a thing that was starting to dog them in 1984. You didn't know what you were going to get. But people who were more on the scene and were not just scenesters, repeating stories, like Pete Jesperson and some of the people that used to travel with them, were like, the replacements were not drunken idiots most of the time. Most of the time, they actually played their own songs, and they were quite good. There were just occasional nights where they kind of went on a bender, and maybe it was different or something. And I think this is one of those nights where they performed extremely well. They played almost entirely their own songs. I mean, a couple of covers and a new one with Help Me Rhonda that I hadn't heard them do before. At least I didn't remember it. But my issue with the live record, the live album, is that the sound quality is very bootleggy. Okay? It's an audience recording using 1984 equipment. And as great as the equipment as this guy might have had, it still is a 1984 standard, and it's still like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I used to trade tapes, okay, live tapes, back in the late 80s, early 90s, and you have to rate them based on the quality of the recording. I would say that this record gets a solid VG plus, okay, if I were to rate it. The best being, excellent or near mint or whatever. I mean, mint is about records. It's not really about the live show. So you would say it was excellent, EX plus, whatever. And I would give this a solid VG plus. It is very listenable. Okay, it is listenable. It's not like you're wondering what's going on. You can hear everything crystal clear. The band sounds really good, even though they get off to a slow start because the Can't Hardly Wait is a little weak, and then they start kicking it in with the second song, which is Left in the Dark. But anyways, so all of the previous Replacements box sets, they ended up extracting the live album and releasing it as its own individual release for Record Store Day or something. And I bought all of those. The KFAI one from 1980 or 81, the Incarcerated, the full thing, all of this stuff. I bought all the separate live albums. But I'm not sure I would actually buy, if they put this Cubby Bear show on vinyl, I'm not sure that I would actually buy it in this case. And I guess there's no need to, because this box set is all vinyl. So it's already there. And that's another point I wanted to address. So with the previous Replacements box sets, they've all been done a certain way. They were 4 CDs and 1 vinyl record, okay? And then an amazing book and all this other stuff. Okay. But there was a consistent complaint from, I guess, vinyl heads and whatever who exclusively wanted it that way, that they were upset that they were forced to buy a CD box and then 1 LP, and the choice of which was the LP was sometimes controversial. Like, it wasn't the actual newly remastered version of the album, it would somehow be the alternate version, or like what they did with Sorry Ma, where they recreated it, or, with some of the others, okay? So it's just different. And I am not one of those people that has that complaint. I was fine with that 4 CD, 1 LP thing. I mean, I know you don't get it all on vinyl, but I will tell you, as much as I care about vinyl and am a vinyl collector, I also am not opposed to listening to CDs or streaming or anything else. And so, for me, I didn't care. This is done in the way that people say they wanted to. So it's a 4-record set. It breaks open into the gatefold, 2 gatefolds, 3 gatefolds, all these different gatefolds. The records pull out, black vinyl on the record. I don't know if there were color variants. I don't care about that kind of stuff. And then comes the booklet, okay? This is it right here, the Let It Be booklet. Now, I mentioned before that Bob Mayer did not write it this year. It was Elizabeth Nelson, who has written for Pitchfork, among other places. I'm not familiar with her entire body of work. I will say that the book is a little thin. It's not a book, but okay. It has to conform with this packaging. The writing is good. I mean, she's a good writer. There's no question. I kind of like Bob Mayer's style, his flair a little bit, maybe. But, I mean, I'm not going to complain about the writing or say it's not good or whatever. The book has some amazing photos. Photos that I haven't really seen before of the band. I mean, here's one. They're on the house there, the Stinson house back when they... This is my favorite picture right here. Bob with that hat is just hysterical. That may be shot at the Cubby Bear, I'm not sure. So the booklet is nice. I mean, I can't complain about the booklet. It's a little thin. I will say that in this case, there was nothing that I didn't already know presented to me in the book. Okay, so with the previous box sets, I've at least found a gem of information that, even though I'm kind of a Replacements nut, I hadn't really heard before. I can't really say that that's happened in this case. Like, I think I knew all the information. There's also, I forgot, there's also a separate section called Making Let It Be that was written by Peter Jesperson, their former manager and co-producer on some of the records in the early days. So he gives some commentary on the making of it. All in all, I think it's a well put together collection. Okay. I've made my commentary on the live album being a little bootleggy. I think the bonus tracks are a little light. Now, they can't help that. There aren't that many. Okay, I know through, like I said, I remembered Street Girl because I used to have bootlegs from that era. So I'm not really sure what else they could have come up with. I mean, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of any songs from that era that are just not represented or not used. Okay, I don't really know what else they could have gotten, but that doesn't prevent me from feeling a little bit disappointed when half of the stuff was on this CD a few years ago that Rhino put out. A Twin Tone Rhino collaboration when their whole catalog was reissued with bonus tracks and whatever on CD many years ago. And then Twin Tone put out the Twin Tone box, which I also have, that had the first 4 records on vinyl. Also part of the package was a 10-inch record, Rhino.com exclusive, of an EP of the Replacements live in early 1984 in New Jersey. I hadn't heard this show before, so it wasn't in my, tape archive or whatever, so I was pretty excited about it. Now, nowhere in the ordering or whatever the process did it say it would be separate. Okay, just to get that on the record. And when I initially got the package and I opened it up and there was no 10-inch, I freaked the fuck out. I immediately went to the Replacements and Paul Westerberg page on Facebook and was like, did anyone else not get a 10-inch? And all these people commented, yeah, it's coming later. You should have gotten a second tracking notice, and you should have gotten that. But I got really frustrated because this was about the 25th or so when I figured it out, and I went to the tracking number and it said that there is a label created on November 25th. That was, I'm sorry, November 21st, 2025, a label was created. And that's from an email that said, your order has been shipped. Now that's bullshit because it hasn't been shipped. All it is a label, okay? And that stayed that way for almost a week until I got something that said, update, okay, your package is going to be there on Tuesday, December 2nd by the end of the day. I'm like, okay, well, look, that's progress. That's a date. It's coming. It is a week and a half late from when the other stuff got there, but fine. I now know what's happening. I have a date. Other people had gotten theirs. Okay? And then, just as I was about to start this video, I get a little notification. Hey, buddy. All right, going to get this package supposedly here. There it is, on the inside. Okay. Yeah, so it showed up just as I was starting to record the video. Here is the 10-inch. Okay, the Replacements live at City Gardens 1984 is recorded February 11th, 1984 in Trenton, New Jersey. Now, I only had a chance to spin this once before doing this review. I would say that the quality of it is a pinch better than the Cubby Bear, but not by a lot. The band is performing well again. They're playing their own songs. They do 20th Century Boy, the T-Rex song, and then they do You're Getting Married, which is an outtake that I knew they had played live once in a while. Color Me Impressed is good, goddamn job. It is only 6 songs, but man, the photos in it are so cool. So there is another piece of liner note information. Elizabeth Nelson writes a piece, and Peter Jesperson writes a piece on there, and another really cool photo that I'd never seen from that time. So it's cool. Look, I got it. I'm glad. Okay, it sort of was really annoying me that it wasn't here. Okay, and I didn't want to do the video and then come back and do another one. Or my initial idea was I was going to cut the video and then stop, wait till the thing got here, and then cut in. But I am going to say something that is going to sound pretty critical of Rhino Records, okay? Almost everyone that I've ever spoken with that is a record person that has ordered product from Rhino Records with the mail order situation never shows up on release date. They ship it on release date. So the stores have it for like a week before you get yours. That's lame if you pre-order it. Number 2, Terrible customer service. Okay, when I first freaked out thinking I didn't get the 10-inch, I tried to click on my order number so I could go back to the Rhino website, and I got a 404 message. My link was canceled. There's no way. And when you try to go to customer service for Rhino, and you click on it, okay, what it is for returns. And I didn't want to return my product. I just want to know what happened to my 10-inch. It was set up that if you were like a record store and you were trying to return product, that was where you were taken. There's no place to make a direct inquiry about this. I sent a Facebook message to Rhino's Facebook asking about it, and I got no response. So I got nothing. Everything that I heard was anecdotal from other replacements fans who were just passing news along. They didn't really know. So I feel like you should have kept people in the loop a little bit more. Made it clear that the 10-inch was coming separately. Not disappointed that I've got the box set. I am not disappointed. I don't know. I'm reluctant to say it's my least favorite of the boxes, but it kind of is. You know, Let It Be is such a stellar album. I mean, just an amazing record. The songs on that are just so good. Some of their best ever. And and this reminds me, in the booklet that was written with the box set, not a single mention of Kiss Black Diamond. Okay, it's the only cover that made the actual album Let It Be. Okay, so they covered all these Heartbeat, It's a Love Beat, all of this other stuff, but they didn't include that on the record. Kiss Black Diamond was on there. It's the reason why I first got into the replacements to begin with. But the reason why I think it's important is because when I met Paul Westerberg back in 1989, and granted he was a drunken mess at the time, I specifically asked him, I said, of all of the cover songs that you guys used to do back in that period, 83, 84, how come Black Diamond was the one that made it on the record? And he looked at me and he said, because that was the one I remembered most of the lyrics to. I've been playing this thing for days, okay? Mostly the live record and the actual album itself. I've been playing them a lot. I've been spinning it on my show. I did a little spotlight on my radio show where I took songs from the Let It Be album and some of the outtakes and played those. And I'm going to continue doing it. Now, there's this review right here. So in conclusion, I guess I would wrap up by saying that I think this is a good box set. It's not overly priced. It's not overly whatever. Okay, it's a good set. And it was one I was going to buy no matter what. Okay, I'm buying any of the replacements ones. It doesn't make any difference. I think the shipping issues are a major problem. And I think Rhino needs to really look into that because it matters. The people who are advance ordering stuff like this, 2-3 months in advance and paying in advance, there's an expectation there that you're not going to be treated like second class person, and we have to make sure we get it to the record stores first and then we'll get it to you later. Okay, sort of, but I already gave you my money. Those record stores could return the product and you'd have, so I guess I just don't understand the logic of treating it this way. It is my only issue. It's the last thing I'm going to say about it. I don't think Rhino is going to improve their situation. I think they're just going to keep doing this and we're going to keep on paying because there is no other alternative. I wanted the t-shirt and I wanted that 10-inch. So what's left? I mean, as far as the replacements catalog getting the expanded box set treatment, there's All Shook Down, the band's final album, and then you've got Hootenanny and Stink. And Stink is an EP, and I think they stretched out the bonus tracks as much as they could on that Rhino one. So maybe a merge Hootenanny and Stink into one box, although I don't think they have any too much bonus material that's already other than what's already come out. Their live recordings, they were, they didn't tour as much in 82, 83. They toured some, but then not as much as they ultimately did in 84, 85, 86, 87, that kind of thing. So I don't know if there's any live recordings that are in the mix. For my collection, I don't remember there being a lot of Hootenanny live recordings, so I don't know. All Shook Down, of course, would be a great one to do. It was the band's final album. They did, on the Rhino reissue CD that came out, they came up with a bunch of different, all demos of the songs on the album, so I don't know about actual outtakes, but that stuff's already been released. I don't know how much there's going to be. It wasn't the band making the record. It was Paul and studio musicians and the band as basically extra musicians and stuff, so I don't know. As far as the live record, they could definitely use the final show. That was broadcast live on WXRT in Chicago. I'm sure they could finagle the rights to that, and that would be a high-quality live recording of their final show. It's been bootlegged for years. It's already been out, but whatever. It's a really good show. What else could be there? I don't know. But I think those are your only options, and I'm not even sure they're going to do Hootenanny and Stink. I just don't know. I feel like All Shook Down, they will. I mean, I don't know. It's Warner Brothers, and Paul would maybe be more apt to talk about it because it was kind of a solo album for him in a way. I don't know. So those are my thoughts. I mean, if I were rating it like I was in school, it would get a solid B. Whereas most of the other Replacements box sets got an A from me. I mean, A plus in the case of Let It Be. I'm sorry, of the Tim Let It Bleed set. That gets A plus 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 plus. So it gets a solid B. I'm not complaining about it. I would certainly never tell you not to buy it. I think you should have it in your collection if you are a Replacements fan. But if this is your entry point into the Replacements, I'd get the albums first, the regular studio version albums or regular albums, and then maybe you get the Tim Let It Bleed, and then maybe you go the first album, and then maybe you go the Don't Tell a Soul. I don't know. Up to you after that. So, all right, folks, gave you a lot to think about. What did you think of this box set? Am I just complaining about nothing, or anyone in agreement with me? Please leave your thoughts below, okay? And I'll be seeing you real soon. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.